Welcome to this presentation of Journal Critique 1. My name is Graham Spencer, and I'm a doctoral student at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. This presentation is for Quantitative Method 1 with Dr. Jesse Wood. In this presentation, we will analyze 3 quantitative research articles that relate to teachers' unions. This is an area of high interest to me as I serve as the middle school tier chair for my local union, as well as serving as a delegate to the state and national assemblies. This is one potential area of my future research. The analysis of each article will follow the same path. A summary of the article, followed by the analysis of the alignment of the problem, purpose, and research questions, before wrapping up with determining if quantitative research was the best fit, as well as any additional notes on the structure of the article or study. The 3 articles that will be analyzed in this presentation are The Role of School Environment and Teacher Dissatisfaction Among U.S. Public School Teachers by Kara M. Moore from the University of Tennessee, The Superintendent Principal, A Position Born in Purgatory by Michael C. Curry from the VIT School District in Table Grove, Illinois, and Laura L. Wolfe of Western Illinois University, and The Influence of Collective Bargaining on Teacher Salaries in New York State by David D. Lipsky and John E. Drotning from Cornell University. In 2012, Kara Moore utilized survey data from the 2007-2008 School and Staffing Survey to determine which factors in the school environment had impacts on teachers' dissatisfaction. Moore utilized data from 34,870 full-time teachers at 6,800 schools in 3,950 school districts across the United States. The purpose of the study was identified clearly as a way to identify elements of the school environment that correlates to teacher dissatisfaction. This purpose aligns very closely with the author's stated problem of the volatility of the teaching profession, stress felt by teachers, and the high turnover rate of educators. The research questions sought to identify which elements of school environments were most closely linked with teacher dissatisfaction. In regards to the presentation of the research, the stated problems guide the purpose of the study, while the research questions were designed to meet the purposes of the study. The research questions led to the author being able to discuss the correlation between school environments and teacher dissatisfaction, which allowed the author to be able to address the initial problem. Quantitative research was the appropriate selection for the author. This choice allowed the research to include a very large sample size, and the research questions sought only to identify what issues were relevant to teacher dissatisfaction, not why the issues led to dissatisfaction. Future studies could utilize qualitative data to identify the causes of what led teachers to identify the issues that correlate to dissatisfaction. One area missing from the article, however, was the ANOVA table. While the author found no statistical significance from the ANOVAs, the exclusion of the data table does not allow readers to analyze the data for themselves. As some school districts see declining enrollment and therefore declining funding, select school districts are choosing to reduce operating costs by combining superintendent and principal positions into a joint superintendent-principal role. Michael Curry and Laura Wolfe sought to examine the ways different stakeholders viewed the many roles and responsibilities of the combined role of superintendent-principals. The authors recognized that this unique combination of leaders serve schools in unique ways and often wear many hats. The authors utilized survey data to determine the roles that the different stakeholder groups viewed as most important for superintendent-principals. The authors identify the problem as the high turnover rate of superintendent principals due to the high challenges presented by one person taking on 2 very different jobs in one role. The purpose of the study was to identify the roles of superintendent principals that different stakeholder groups identified as essential and non-essential in order to allow the superintendent principals to prioritize the tasks of the combined roles. The purpose of the study leads itself to be supportive of the problem. However, the purpose takes on additional scope not listed in the problem, mainly the 3 different stakeholder groups. Likewise, the research questions support the purpose by directly seeking to answer the question of what roles the 3 large stakeholder groups prioritize for the superintendent-principal roles, and the similarities and differences in the priorities of these groups. Quantitative research for this question was very appropriate, as the authors sought to identify and rank the roles of the combined superintendent-principals. The authors did not need input beyond the identified roles. Quantitative data allowed the authors to rank the stakeholder groups' responses and provide direct priorities for the 3 groups. Additional key stakeholder groups could have included educators as a whole rather than solely teacher union presidents, as well as community members. David Lipsky and John Drotning identified a lack of consistent research on a correlation of unionism and teacher salaries. Backed by the New York State Public Relations Board, the researchers analyzed the impact on unionism on New York public school salaries outside of New York City. The authors focused on salary as the only benefit of collective bargaining and found varied results across different sized school districts. The authors also cautioned about the timing of the study having been close to the implementation of new law in New York that drastically affected collective bargaining. The author's problem lacked considerations of benefits of collective bargaining beyond salary. These could include health benefits, workplace safety, and job security measures. The purpose aligned to the stated problem, to determine if unionism increased salary for teachers through collective bargaining. The research questions sought to highlight the purpose of the study, but were not well presented. The authors were not explicit in what questions were being researched. The quantitative study presented was not the best fit for the research. The quantitative study left out many potential variables that could have affected the outcome of districts' new ability to collective bargain. Additionally, by focusing on salary alone, many other benefits received by teachers through collective bargaining may have been ignored. Open-ended questions or interviewed with teachers could have paired well, asking about other benefits received through collective bargaining or how well prepared each local union was to go through the bargaining process. Thank you for joining me on this analysis of 3 quantitative studies. If you have any questions, please direct them to my email. I look forward to seeing you back here for Journal Critique 2.